Hello again, friends. Same lighting, same outfit, same topic, really, although I'm sure it'll come out different because I'm recording these back to back because tomorrow I am leaving at 6 a.m. and I will not get to where I'm going for like 29 hours or something like that because it'll be 10 p.m. but in a time zone that's 13 hours off. Anyway, it's going to be a long day, and the Japanese don't really like it when you talk in public, so I'm not so sure about, like, sitting down and gushing about Jesus in the airport. I mean, if I thought they would understand me, I might do it, but instead, I think we're just going to do it right now. Or for me, tomorrow, it's like 2 days from now for y'all, but whatever. Today's gospel, very similar to the one that we were looking at yesterday, talking about what leadership looks like. But here we have Jesus predicting the passion again. Now, this is the third time that he does it. And as we've seen, it tends to be followed by stupidness, right? The first prediction of the passion was in Matthew 16. And Peter, after Jesus predicts the passion, says, no, you're not going to die and rise. I will protect you, basically. And obviously, they're not. Jesus is not a fan of that. The second time, they're just overwhelmed with grief. But in one of the other Gospels, we see that one is followed by an argument over who's the best. This time, the third prediction of the Passion, this time, Jesus says he's going to be crucified. Now, that's a pretty horrifying thing to hear. Before, he had just been telling them that he was going to be killed. Here he says he will be handed over to the chief priests and the scribes. They will condemn him to death and hand him over to the Gentiles to be mocked and scourged and crucified. Now, we can't understand what this would mean to them, to hear that he's going to be crucified, that he's going to suffer like a common criminal in this incredibly shameful way. I mean, the cross was an absolute scandal to the Jews especially, but to everybody, because nobody died. I mean, this isn't like, fancy assassination where everybody's like, ooh, look what happened to that guy. Like, this is just ugliness, and they hear that. And it says, then, like, the next thing, the mother of the sons of Zebedee approached him with her sons and did him homage, wishing to ask him for something. And I wonder, so her sons are James and John, right? Now, James and John, Jesus' besties, like, inner circle. They become a real big deal later on. They're already a really big deal. Like, they get to watch the transfiguration. They're there in the agony in the garden. Did they suggest to her, like, they were worried because Peter got to be the rock, and they were like, Mom, like, you should talk to him. Jesus likes you. You should talk to him. Was she one of those pushy, overbearing moms who's like, oh, well, my kid. And so she's, like, dragging them along with her. Do they want to be a part of this, or are they really reluctant and just sort of, there's a filial piety that's pulling them? I'm not exactly sure. But what she asks is, command that these two sons of mine sit one at your right and the other at your left in your kingdom. I mean, that is a lot to ask. First of all, it's ridiculous because he already picked Peter. But second of all, to walk up to someone who she clearly thinks that he's going to be a king, probably a temporal king. They probably don't quite understand, since this follows his prediction of the passion. They don't quite understand what's going on here. But she says, make them in charge. Like, put them at the height of power. I want my boys to be the best. And Jesus' response isn't like, who do you think you are? Why are you so arrogant? He says, you don't know what you're asking. Sometimes I think we're like that in the spiritual life, right? I pray for suffering and God's like, here's a hangnail, and I'm like, I can't, I'll die, right? Or I pray for holiness and God's like, you know that holiness comes through sacrifice and obedience and pain, right? Or, you pray for marriage, and marriage is hard. You pray to have a child, and having a baby is hard, and we don't know some of these things going in, or maybe you do, but there's still this sense, like, when you're asking God for big things, he's like, no, you don't know what you're asking, and I'm going to answer the prayer that you mean and not the prayer that you actually said. But he says, here, can you drink the cup that I'm going to drink? Now, the cup always means suffering. So when Jesus says, Father, let this cup pass from me, that cup is the cup of suffering. It's a beautiful meditation when you're at Mass and Father offers the host. And with the host, you can offer the great joy of your life and say, Lord, this is from you and this is for you. Thank you. And I offer back to you this relationship or this success that I've had, or, this experience or whatever. But then for the chalice, to offer him the suffering of your life. To say, Lord, I offer you my loneliness or my pain or my fear or my anger. And to allow that also to be transformed into the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ. Because all pain, all brokenness can be resurrected if it's united with the sacrifice of Christ. And so he's got this chalice he's talking about. Can you drink the cup that I am going to drink? They said to him, we can. Now he just said it was going to be crucifixion. You really think that you can endure that? This is like me over here. I'm like, I want to be a martyr. Like, I want to be amazing. And then I'm like, oh, but just like bullet to the head. Like, kill me quick. I don't want to be skinned alive. I don't want to be hanged upside down. I don't want to be disemboweled. Like, no, I want to be a martyr, but I want to be the easy kind of martyr, the kind that doesn't hurt very much. And Jesus like, that's not how that works, honey. Right? I think I could be a martyr because I'm arrogant. That's one of my big reflections on the movie Silence, right? This man, and the book too, which I just finished for the third time maybe. The book where we see him, he is so confident that he can be a martyr. And that's why he doesn't have the strength. Peter is so confident he can give his life for the Lord, and that's why he doesn't have the strength. And we just need to keep praying, Lord, make me faithful. Lord, give me the strength, give me the courage, because I think I'm so strong because I've got willpower. But maybe I've just never encouraged anything or encountered anything that's actually hard. I need to be praying that the Lord would give me strength to endure or to repent, whatever may come. St. Thomas Aquinas, who was just the sweetest saint. I may have said this already on this vlog. I don't know. I'm getting twisted up. But he used to pray, Lord, beware of Thomas. He may yet betray you. And to hear that from a man so pure and so holy and so good and so sweet really reminds me that, I think that I can suffer for him. I think that I can live for him, and it's only by his grace that any of it's possible. And there they are. They say, we can. And Jesus doesn't say, you moron, no, you can't. You're going to run away like a little girl. Like, please, you think you're strong? You're not strong. He says, okay. You think you can drink my cup? Okay. I'm going to give you the gift of martyrdom. My cup you will indeed drink. But to sit at my right and at my left, this is not mine to give, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared by my Father. And everybody else, they hear this and they are ticked. Oh, they are angry. And I would be angry too. To overhear them going up to Jesus and be like, hey, Jesus, just real quick. Like, I'll be like CEO, he'll be CFO, and you'll be like, chairman of the board, or however that works. Like, can I be a big deal in the kingdom? They're angry. And Jesus is like, no, stop. This is the devil. The devil's getting you, because either you're trying to be the best or you're fighting about who's the best, and it's always about you. It's not about me. And he says, that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and the great ones make their authority over them felt. But it shall not be so among you. Rather, whoever wishes to be great among you shall be your servant. Whoever wishes to be first among you shall be your slave. And this is the real image of Christian leadership, right? Leadership in the priesthood, leadership for parents, leadership in your Bible study, whatever, is just always saying, Lord, you must increase and I must decrease. And if you're an enormous personality like me, that can be a really challenging thing. What does humility look like? Does it just look like shrinking? No, it looks like pouring yourself out. The Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. That's the invitation, is to look in every moment, to look for the opportunity. How can I serve here? Who can I love here? In a conversation where, you've got a person on this side who's super interesting, a person on this side who's really not, to direct yourself to the person who's not interesting, and to make that sacrifice and to pour your life out. This magnanimity has really been my buzzword for 2017. Trying not just to shrink, but to be lavish in generosity of spirit, to look at people with magnanimous eyes, and to assume always the best, and to choose to be generous in the way that I feel about people and my perspective on people, not to be grasping for myself, grasping attention or grasping authority or grasping people's respect. And that is just absolutely 100% who I am. It's just all the time wanting to be the best and be in charge and have all the things and everybody love me and everybody want me. And Jesus comes and he says, no, I've come not to be served, but to serve. That's the call of Christian leadership, is and just of Christianity in general, is to pour ourselves out in service to the other. I was at an ordination some time ago, just a minute, and I watched this priest, beautiful, beautiful young holy priest. He had just been ordained, and he went out afterwards, and he stood for hours in incredible heat in his vestments giving blessings. And I was in the chapel doing my holy hour after this reception, and he came back in, and he went back to the sacristy, and he took off his vestments, and he went and knelt in front of the tabernacle and wept. For 5 straight minutes, knelt in front of the tabernacle and wept. And then he wiped the tears out of his eyes. He got up and he walked back out to serve his people. And I thought, that is the priesthood, just being overcome by the goodness of God and gratitude for his generosity. I mean, there was such joy in this man's face. It was the most beautiful moment I think I've ever witnessed in my life, is to see that gratitude and that joy. And then that he knew that he couldn't indulge that any longer. He had to go out and serve his people. He had to go out and be with them and love them some more. And that's just been such a witness to me of the need to be rooted in a real gratitude to God for what he's given me as a Christian, as a missionary, as the kind of person who people are listening to. You know, the reading from Jeremiah today. Come, let us contrive a plot against Jeremiah. Let us destroy him by his own tongue. Let us carefully note his every word. And I thought, oh gosh, people note my every word. It's all permanent, and it's published on the internet, and there's videos and podcasts and blogs, and I don't get to say lazy things, because if I'm stupid and I say something stupid, some jerk thing, which I do all the time, it's there forever. And if anybody ever opens my cause for canonization, they're going to close it real quick, because they're going to see all the stupid things that I've said. We don't have the luxury of just saying stupid things, because people hear us and they identify that with Christ. But at the same time, you know, like yesterday's gospel, it's not about us, it's about him. It's not about impressing people, it's about leading them back to him. So today, let's ask the Lord to give us a real gratitude for who he's called us to be in his mercy, and a real humility in the knowledge that we're not always going to be who we should be, but that's okay as long as we keep turning back to him.